Hey, so happy to have you guys here on our live. We're here talking about our upcoming summit, The Confident Leader, and it will be on February 18th, this Wednesday, this Thursday, this Friday. So February 18th, 19th, and 20th from 4 to 6 p.m. And today we are going to discuss Confident Leader and our leadership talk with all of our speakers. We have Alyssa, we have Jessper, and Alex, and we're going to be so glad to hear what they have to share. Wonderful news. Again, I'd like to invite you to join. We have information in the chat. Check out the link and make sure you scan the QR code or just click the link so that you can join our Confident Leader Summit this Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Again, it's from 4 to 6 p.m. Our first speaker is Alyssa from Indianapolis. Welcome, Alyssa.
Thank you so much, Carla. I'm so glad to be here. Hello, everybody. My name is Alyssa Bailey, and I'm the founder of Rise Up Career Coaching. And so I am so excited to be a part of this summit that Carla was just talking about. And the session that I will be doing actually on Thursday is called You're Not Underqualified, You're Underpositioned. And it's for every high-performing professional who really looks successful on paper, but feels quietly misaligned. A lot of my clients come to me saying, it's like this stuck feeling. And that's where this session is all about. And if you've ever thought maybe, I should be grateful for what I have. A lot of people would feel lucky to be in this seat, but I just feel stuck. Like that is what this session is. And that's what this is all about.
Oh, okay. Tell me a little bit more about being stuck, because I know what that looks like for me.
Yes.
But for your clients and for the upcoming summit, what does stuck look like?
Absolutely. And I've been in that seat as well, Carla. So a lot of people can relate to that feeling. So great question. And what I see happen all the time are high-performing professionals. They reach this point in their career where something just feels off. They can't really put their finger on it. And maybe the role is fine. The pay may be good. They have the experience, but something just doesn't fit anymore.
Yes.
And a lot of our natural response as human beings is we start to blame ourselves. We start to think things like, well, maybe I'm not qualified enough. Maybe I need another certification, or maybe something's wrong with me for just not being happy. I should be thankful, right? I'm in this seat that I once thought I wanted so badly. And that's really where this comes along, is like, the truth is they're not necessarily underqualified. They're underpositioned. And what this means really is that their experience may be strong, but they just struggle to articulate clearly what they really want next, or how that past experience really does connect to where they want to go. And, I found myself in this seat as well. And like a job I once thought I wanted, 5 years previously, it wasn't what I thought once I got there. But my phase of life had changed. Everything about what I had prioritized had changed. And when we really start to be unclear on that positioning, we start to just feel like everything is harder. And that's where that stuck feeling really comes from. And when they try to fix it by, let's say, applying to 200 some jobs or roles and they don't hear back, or maybe they're interviewing and they feel like they're just not landing that value messaging, or networking really just feels awkward. Like it just adds to it feeling harder and harder and harder. But it's not because you're not good enough, right? It's not because you don't have the qualifications necessarily, but what is happening is we haven't gotten clear on what this phase of life that you're in now is needing, not the one 10 years ago. What actually energizes you now versus what drains you. And a lot of people just continue to grow in that career that they thought that they needed. And once they're in that path, they keep on going, but they don't really go from that energy zone. They start to spend most of their time in this draining zone, which makes them really stuck.
So are we comfortable in a position and then we don't see. So I think that's my first question. Are we
Yeah.
just comfortable, and are we fearful of the future?
100%. And I think now more than ever, right? Everybody's out there talking about how hard this job market is. And, I've worked, sometimes it's 15, 20, 25 plus years in this role in this specialty. A lot of people have the mindset of, well, if I change now, if I pivot now, I'm just losing all of that. Where that's not the case. Think of all the skills that you've gained and all of the expertise that you have. And again, it comes back to, are you clearly positioning yourself and your skill sets? But before you do that, it's about being clear on what you even want in this period of your life, this phase of life. Your non-negotiables are going to change. And once you start to build that, your strategy you build from that can then adapt and create more of that alignment in your career versus that fear. And like you were saying, like, I'm just going to stay here because I don't know. And there's so much unknown. And so there's a lot of that fear that keeps us in a seat where at the end of the day, you go home and you don't really have that much left to give to the ones that mean the most.
Okay. I'm with you on that. And I've actually felt that. I mean, physically, I've not just mentally knowing that, but I've actually felt that.
Yes.
Okay, so if what are you planning on talking about as far as in the summit? How do you come out of that? How do you transition?
Yeah, in my session, I really want the attendees to walk away with, one, how do you recognize the early signs of career misalignment before the burnout sets in? And then two, what's that clarity framework, which is actually one of the free gifts that I'm going to give away after the session, is really so that each attendee can start to identify what's no longer working now and what does fit in their life now. Yeah. And then lastly, how can they start to position themselves confidently for their next move without that feeling and fear of like, oh, I have to start all over? Because once we start to paint that path and get clear on your positioning, everything shifts and that harder stuck feeling starts to go away and you stop feeling invisible. You stop second guessing yourself so much and you really start to show up with more of that confidence. And I think a myth that I always like to flip the script on, everybody's like, well, I don't have enough confidence, or when I feel better, I'll go after it. But I actually like to challenge that and make people think the opposite. It is the clarity piece that has to come before the confidence. Once you start building that clarity, your confidence will naturally follow. It's not waiting for confidence and then you get clear, but it's actually quite the opposite.
Coolness. Okay. Tell me a little bit more about one of the items you plan to gift us.
Yeah, so it's really my clarity roadmap, my clarity map that starts to ask you intentional questions of reflection. And a lot of my clients who do this exercise with me one-on-one, so many of them are like, I wish I would have taken the time to get clear on some of this like months ago. If I would have spent this intentional time and reflecting, one, I wouldn't have jumped to just another job that is just like the one that I left. And I would have started to actually build this strategy around what I actually want in this phase of life. And I'll tell you, like in my early 20s, I was all about the title and climbing the ladder and you're going right. And then you get married. I have 2 kids at home and like life starts to change some of those priorities. And so many of us often will go about that career in a way that, well, everybody expects me to go for that next title, or everybody expects me to make that my next move. But so many of my clients are like, this clarity map really helped me get real with what I want and then get intentional on building that strategy from a place that they feel really centered around.
Wonderful. Wonderful. If you could briefly, without saying the name, share a story of how one of your clients benefit from your clarity roadmap.
Absolutely. So my first client that comes to mind, she really walked in and you have this internal judge that we all really struggle with. And she really questioned herself a lot. most talented project manager that I had ever worked with. And she really just had so much to bring to any organization who'd be lucky to have her. And, back in my day, me hiring, like I totally would have hired her. Mm-hmm. But she just didn't understand internally that value she brought to the table. And so when we really got clear and went through this map together and started to get intentional in these reflection conversations, she started to understand how she could articulate her value in a way that felt authentic to her. And she finally started to uncover, like, wow, you're right. I do have so much that I can bring to the table. And just building that confidence and understanding, she was able to see that she, one, has a lot to bring to the table, but two, it wasn't that she was in the wrong role. She was just in the wrong organization and industry. And so when we started to build that map together, we started to draw some parallels to areas that, again, would energize her and get her out of the space that doesn't lead into a lot of her strengths, but then she can take those skills and then go get them. And that's where she was able to end up in a role where now she had a supportive organization. She was in a role that lit her up. And she finally felt that self-confidence that she'd been lacking for quite some time.
Beautiful. Thank you, Alyssa. And what day are you speaking on again?
I will be speaking on Thursday at 4:45 Eastern time. So I hope to see everybody there.
All right. Don't forget, make sure you join our leadership summit, The Confident Leader, and Alyssa will be there on Thursday at 4:45. Thank you for your time, Alyssa.
Thank you.
We're going to bring to the stage Jessper. Jessper's on the West Coast outside of LA. We were just talking about, hopefully I'll be able to get to the Super Bowl. We'll see next year. Next year, maybe I can look you up, Jessper, and say, hey, let's go get some coffee, Jessper.
Carla, that would be very exciting.
Jessper, thank you again. We had a session last Wednesday, but I'm glad that you're back. And I'm glad that, it's 10:14, so it's 7:14 on the West Coast. That's early. Thank you for your endurance.
Well, I'm up, but Carla, want to thank you for having me today. And this reminds me, I was on I had a recent conversation on a podcast, and the host had asked me, Jessper, why are leaders not as effective as they could be? And as I thought about that question, I realized it's because, one, there's no formal education piece in formal education. And two, even in businesses, there's no formal programming. Unless an employee is working in a Fortune 500 company, there are leadership programs, but not that many people have that opportunity to work for a Fortune 500 company. So what that means is this summit is very timely because it's giving leaders, and especially emerging leaders, the opportunity to really gain that understanding of how to become a more effective and efficient leader. So Carla, thank you for, I want to thank you and Ash for organizing this conversation this week.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit it on the head. First of all, you're welcome. But also, you're absolutely right. Just as far as it's just not available. I had to search around myself, to actually, when I found out, Carla, you're a lousy leader. So what do I need to do? So I had to do the exact same thing. And this event, you worded it perfectly. This event is for those because it helps you no matter what level, an emerging leader, mid-level CEO. At that level, you can always grow. Sometimes people think that, I could just top out. No, you will continue to learn leadership, while you still have breath in your body. So Jessper, share a bit with our audience what you plan to talk about this week.
Absolutely. So this week, I am talking about a topic that I'm very passionate about, and it is navigating the future of team leadership. And leadership has evolved over time in at least 5 phases. And the first phase was survival. When we were cave people, we followed the strongest person because they could keep us away from danger. They were not necessarily demanding or commanding. We just adhered to them because if we didn't listen to the strongest person in the group, we would end up as dinner for a saber-toothed tiger. Then it evolved to monarchies where society had kings and whatever they said, you had to listen. And if you didn't listen, that they could just take you away. And third was the as we moved into the Industrial Revolution, that was the command and control style, similar to the monarchy, but for command and control in the Industrial Revolution, it was more about efficiency. They wanted people to get results, but at the same time, they were still stepping over people. And as we moved on to that, moving on to the modern workplace, stage 4 is incentive-based leadership, where leaders and managers started to believe that in order to motivate employees, maybe it was the benefits and perks. Maybe let's give our employees movie nights. Let's give our employees the social hour. Let's give our employees bring your dog to work day. Let's give them pizza night. But we realized over time that wasn't enough. So as we're moving into the future, this fifth phase, this new phase, it's the leadership of inspiration, really understanding what drives other people. It's not the incentives. It's not the movie nights. It's not the pizza nights. It's this sense of purpose, this sense of why, really giving the employees and team members the opportunity to understand that big picture that really gets them excited and motivated. So when we talk about the future of leadership, it's really becoming a leader who can inspire and motivate others based on that grand vision of what the future looks like for everyone.
Okay, Jessper, you had me on that. Bring your dog. That's going to stick in my mind. I never had an instance where I say, hey, let me give you an incentive. Bring your dog to work day. And I forgot that is a thing. But you make a good point, because I did a lot of that myself. You give incentives, but you really, as a leader, you can inspire, and you can inspire without giving an incentive. I mean, that is beneficial. And then once you inspire people, you tend to see them grow, whereas they will leave your nest, and you may feel at the same time, oh my gosh, I would hate to lose that person. But that's the reason why you inspire them, so they can be their best selves, and they can go out into the world, and they'll have a part of you, but they're really themselves, and they can grow and develop. So I'm with you 100%. So give me an example of how you would inspire, through your talk, how you would inspire your team or a team member.
Absolutely. So let's say for an organization, we have meetings with our teams. Instead of saying two things, instead of saying we're number one, that could throw people off, because number one in what? That doesn't really provide any specifics. So you really do want to provide specific results that you're striving for. And the other thing is, for many organizations today, what really motivates a company, it's more than just profit. It is what the company is striving for. So for example, let's say a nonprofit wants to provide services for children, and that grand mission is to really give children a better life in some way. And then again, the nonprofit would have to provide specifics and how they would create a better life for children. But essentially, it is finding that result that really gets people excited about what they're working toward.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And also, I would say, give me, same thing with Alyssa, give me a story of how your talk has inspired people.
Absolutely. So I recently had a team conversation with one of my clients, and what one of my clients said during the conversation really took me aback. And he had his team, and he said, let's have an open conversation about what to improve. Wow. And the next thing he said really opened my eyes. And he said, if it's something you don't like, just let me know. And wow. The reason it surprised me is because when it comes to leadership, a lot of leaders want things their way. They tend to grab on to a certain way of doing things. But when a leader is open, gives the space to other people to really show and reveal what needs to be done, even if a leader is not ready to hear it, that really opens up the space to find real improvements. And that's where I see the direction of effective leadership. It's really being open to feedback of all types that'll make the organization better moving forward.
Yes. So with that, I don't know if the statistic has changed, but I remember a few years ago, a statistic was that a CEO, 4%, how does it go? I'm saying it wrong already. A CEO only receives 4% of the information that's shared within the organization. And that could be because of fear or just, and I'm saying fear from the team member sharing the information because they're scared. If I tell the truth, we could collapse within the next 90 days. But it could be out of fear. It could be out of, a sense of I'm too low level to share with the CEO what's really happening. But that's pretty low. But if you open it up where people feel comfortable to share, we're going to collapse in 90 days. You may not see it, but we see far more than you do. That would help the CEO tremendously. What are your thoughts a little further about that?
Absolutely. And there is an official term for that. And it comes from Daniel Goldman. He's the author of all the emotional intelligence books, an early pioneer of that. And he calls it CEO disease. And that is that impact where the top leaders are not getting that much of that honest feedback because other team members have that fear of losing their job. They have that fear of maybe retaliation, or maybe a leader might continue to disagree. It does have an impact because the leader does not see the big picture. Many times they'll think things are better than they actually are, and they'll fall into traps and other dangers that are hidden to them. So it is very important for leaders to be open to all types of feedback and to intentionally create that space. And when I say intentional, that is a big part of the leadership for the future, being intentional about how they lead others.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jessper. And what day are you speaking on?
So I will be speaking on Friday. I will be the second speaker.
All right. Jessper, thank you so much. Can't wait to hear from you on Friday.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you. So next we have Alex Dumas from the beautiful state of North Carolina. Isn't that true, Alex?
That's right. The greatest state in the United States, according to me. I don't know if that's true or not, but we're going to hold
according to Alex. Wonderful. Yeah. Alex, it's wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. Please share what you're going to talk about during our Leadership Summit this week.
Yeah, for sure, Carla. I'm excited to be with you all. And my talk is called Win from Within. So WIN, that's an acronym. It's a framework. You're going to learn more about that on Wednesday afternoon when I'm first to bat. But yeah, Win from Within. And we're going to look at how high-performing leaders build unshakable confidence under pressure.
And what does that pressure look like?
Take your pick, right? We have our personal pressures. I'll speak for myself, right? I'm a husband. I'm a father of two. So that already brings in pressure of being at this event or making sure that I'm guiding, encouraging my kids and complimenting my wife and just family dynamics. That on the personal side. Professionally, take your pick, right? Your stakeholders, you have your employees, you have your frontline staff, you have everyone around you, right? As we deal with people, I say this often, people are people, and you got to love them sometimes despite themselves. And as a leader, trying to hold space for so many different personalities and dynamics and situations, and at the same time, take time for me. How do I fill my cup? How do I breathe life into myself and speak life into myself so that I can be effective? And yeah, when it comes to pressure, it's everywhere around us.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So how do you move from, I would say, the pressure point, and I'm talking about during your talk, how do you move from the pressure point to the point where they feel, and I'm going to take a word from what Jessper used, inspiration. So how do you move from pressure to inspiration?
That's a great question. And part of the framework, what I'm going to be talking about is we're going to start with the W part, the worth, and really looking at your self-worth, your identity, and can we anchor to that versus the performance? Yes, the performance, the metrics, those things matter, but we've seen it time and time again. And I tie things in with sports analogies. So you think of athletes, gifted, powerful, talented, committed. But aren't there some stories, Carla, where some athletes are doing great, but yet they fall apart? they get arrested here, they have a domestic violence charge, they have drug use, and you're like, they have it all.
Yeah.
Why is this person falling apart in this case, right? And we've seen it with CEOs, we've seen it with regular business folks. Like, they have it all on paper, but yet they self-sabotage, they kind of destroyed their lives. Well, what's the difference there? What are they inspired for? We've heard this word a couple of times. Jessper shared it. Intentions. What's the intention? What's the focus? What's the actual commitment to excellence, to thrive in, to building a real community or building a real culture that grows together? So when you come from that place, it's easy to transfer that to employees. I remember years ago when I worked in the nonprofit space as a manager for residential facilities. We're talking about people with autism, cognitive impairment, traumatic brain injuries, and staff coming in. It's tough work. It's hard work. You're helping these individuals with everything, with medication management, with daily living skills, and sometimes they can get physically aggressive, right? And you have to kind of just put on the professional hat, like, all right, this person's swinging on me, this person's mad, they're throwing stuff at me, and you just gotta block it out, remain a pro, and serve them. And it's tough to inspire people when they're coming in like, all right, this is just another day. Here we go again.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, come on, we can do this. This is gonna be a great day. And you're like, it's a matter of you buying in so other people can buy in. So I hope that answers that question.
Yeah. So it does. And it made me think of, just a few things in my life. So thanks for the response. What about the win? Where did that framework come from?
Yeah, that's a great question. The frameworks really come from my life. I've seen many different areas in my life where I quote unquote lose, meaning I don't get what I want. I don't achieve the things I want to achieve, and I don't feel good about it, right? Just internally, like, oh, I'm restless, I'm anxious, right? All sorts of things. And then I started finding all these clues, these breadcrumbs of like, hey, what are the times I do succeed? What are the times that I feel good about myself, that I'm focused, I have a real focused intention, and then I actually include other people with it. I have a network, I have an orbit of people that are here to support me. And
nice.
Just as time went on, I'm like, wow, being a former athlete, an amateur athlete, I'm not going to say I was a pro, but playing amateur sports, seeing that difference of when I struggle, when I fail, when I'm in pain internally and physically, that's because I'm trying to do it by myself. I'm trying to get the glory. I'm trying to be the man versus humbling myself, serving leadership, and actually achieving a lot more, a lot faster.
Yeah, that's major.
Yeah.
I need to drop the mic on that because humility is a major point. That's like the top thing of being a leader. Yeah. You can't do it. I always think of a leader as part of the team as well. So while you may be leading the team, you're still a part of the team, and you need to understand your place in it. That's the reason why you hire super duper people.
Absolutely.
But realizing
I just led a meeting over the weekend with this group, the National Speakers Association, the Carolinas chapter. And I emceed, I hosted it, I created all these different activities for these professional speakers. And afterwards, like, hey, thank you for doing this. Great job leading. I'm like, listen, thank you. I received that. I'm not bypassing. I'm not like shrugging it off like I would do in my younger years. I've really received that. But I also let them know that it takes two to tango. If you're not here following, then who am I leading? Yeah. Because if you don't come to this event, if you don't show up, then it's just me in an empty room talking to the screen and having a good dog and pony show. You need people with us.
Absolutely. Beautiful, Alex. Well, thank you, Alex. What day are you speaking on?
Wednesday. So that's February 18th. And I am on, I believe, 4:45 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to light up, if you want to really get this summit started off the right way, come tap in with my session. And that's going to really lead into all the other sessions with these amazing speakers. And I just want to thank you, Carla, you, Ash, Connie, behind the scenes for your dedication to making this event powerful and impactful, and inviting me to speak on it. When I saw the name Confident Leaders Summit, I'm like, oh, come on, this is a layup right here. Let's go. I'm excited for this. So February 18th, Wednesday, tap in. Let's go.
All right, let's go. Thank you, Alex. I want to
You're
thank Alyssa, Jessper, and Alex for joining us. There will be our speakers for our Confident Leader Summit this Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It will be again February 18th, 19th, and 20th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. We'll have 3 leaders speak. I like that. 3 leaders speak on Wednesday and 3 on Thursday and 2 with a breakout session on Friday. Please click the link so you can join. We'll be happy to have you. And it's what we need. And I think one of the other speakers talked about, I think it was Jessper, the fact that we don't have an opportunity to learn leadership in our normal environment. And I agree 100%. A lot of us have to scurry around, at least I did, to find out how I can develop as a leader and what a strong leader looks like. I didn't have that within. But this is the perfect opportunity for all of you to just to be able to use the word that Alex said, tap, or the terms Alex used, tap in. So again, it's a great opportunity. Thank you again, Alyssa, Jessper, and Alex. Thank you for our producer, Connie. And we will see you this Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. Click that link. Thank you, folks. We are out.